So these are the matchups that need to be made after UFC Fight Night London. Let's start off with the main event. We have got Sean Brady, who completely embarrassed Leon Edwards in his home country on short notice as well. Let's not forget that Sean Brady took this fight on 3 weeks notice. He went in there and completely destroyed Leon Edwards. It wasn't even close. There was just levels between both guys, if we're being honest. He dominated him. He even beat him up on the feet, dominated him in the grappling, and subbed him in the 4th round. I know what's next for Sean Brady. It's the matchup against Belal Muhammad or JDM. Whoever wins at UFC 315, Sean Brady's the number 1 contender now, in my opinion. I don't want to hear about Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat Rakhmonov had his opportunity. He pulled out injured. Just look at what happened to Arman Tsarukyan, who's the clear number 1 contender in the UFC's lightweight division. Shavkat isn't even the clear number 1 contender in the welterweight division. There's a couple of guys that have an argument. Sean Brady is the clear one right now, in my opinion. Sean Brady beat Leon. The former champion was ranked number 1. He beat him better than what Belal Muhammad did, who is the champion. Sean Brady completely dominated him from start to finish. Belal Muhammad, Leon Edwards was actually pretty close if you go back and watch it. The right man did win in Belal, but it was a lot closer than the Sean Brady-Leon Edwards matchup. I think Sean Brady, since losing to Belal Muhammad at UFC 280, he has made some real improvements in his striking. His grappling has always been his best attribute. He is probably, on when the fight hits the mat, the most dangerous grappler in the UFC's welterweight division. And how to sort this division out, that actually might be a video I'm going to make in the coming days. But Joaquin Buckley, Shavkat Rakhmonov 5-round fight night main event, while Sean Brady gears up to fight the winner of Belal Muhammad versus JDM. There's history between him and Belal Muhammad. His only professional MMA loss is to Belal Muhammad. So if Belal Muhammad is able to beat JDM, you've got this matchup. There's history there. Also, for once in the promo, you can show Belal Muhammad stopping someone, because yes, Sean Brady not only lost to Belal Muhammad, but he did get TKO'd by him. But like I said, he's made a lot of improvements. He deserves to fight for the title next, 100%, whether it's against JDM, whether it's against Belal Muhammad again. Sean Brady has to fight for the belt next. No other options. Not Shavkat. It just can't be Shavkat, because if Arman Tsarukyan's being treated this way and Oliveira was treated this way when he pulled out of his rematch against Islam Makhachev, what makes Shavkat Rakhmonov so different? Shavkat needs to have one more fight. Moving on, the loser of the main event, we've got Leon Edwards. Absolutely embarrassed by Sean Brady. Got nothing off. Was complete dog shit. There is not one positive to take away from that Leon Edwards performance. What I think should be next for him is a matchup against Carlos Prates. Look, Carlos Prates is set to face Jeff Neal at UFC 314. I think Carlos Prates will win that matchup. There are other options for Leon, like I've seen a lot of people say Ian Gary. I'm still holding out that Ian Gary is going to fight Colby Covington. I know time's kind of passed on that matchup, and Colby is a lot further down the rankings than where he was when the original Ian Gary-Colby fight was being discussed. But there's a lot of bad blood between those guys, and I would just like to see that matchup, to be honest. And there's another matchup, which is the winner of Gilbert Burns versus Morales. Leon could step in and face the winner of that. Personally, though, I just like this matchup. Stylistically, both very dangerous strikers. I want to see Leon in a matchup where he isn't grappling. I really do. Even though against Sean Brady, when he was being out-grappled, he shot for a takedown. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to give him a striker. Plus, Carlos Prates, if he's able to beat Leon Edwards, he would be on a massive win streak by that point, beating Jeff Neal, Carlos Prates, Neil Magny, Jeff Neal and Leon Edwards. He would shoot right up the rankings. He's a big star for the UFC as well. His whole gym, the Fighting Nerds, they've got a bit of a wee click going at the minute that everyone's getting behind. He's a very entertaining fighter to watch, an elite striker. Don't know if I'd go elite like, but you know what I mean. He's a very dangerous striker. Leon Edwards is also a really good striker in his own mind. I think that there is the better of the options for Leon. Him versus Carlos Prates, a great main card opener or somewhere on the main card. It definitely will not main event anywhere. There's no way the UFC have Leon Edwards main event after his last two main event performances have been complete and utter dog shit. I don't even know if people would go in the UK because of how shit his last fight was against Sean Brady. People were actually leaving at the second round The O2, people were just leaving in round 2 because of how shit Leon was. I don't think he's going to main event, but I think it would be good on a pay-per-view card. Him versus Carlos Prates. Very, very exciting matchup. Moving on to the co-main event winner, Carlos Oberg. Did he deserve to win? No, it should have been Jan Blachowicz in my opinion. It's fairly obvious he called out for a title shot. Absolutely fucking not. We know Pereira's getting his rematch. Yuri Prohaska was in the crowd. Yuri needs one more big win in my opinion before getting back there to fight for the title. I think you do this matchup, it makes complete sense. You could even have this fight on the Alex Pereira Magomed Ankalaev fight card on the it could be the pay-per-view opener, main card opener, and it means then you know who is going to be fighting for the belt after. Maybe if Pereira wins, they do the trilogy. I don't know. We need to see how the fight goes, but this is the fight that makes sense. Carlos Oberg is going to be highly ranked now after beating Jan Blachowicz. Yuri Prohaska is already ranked number 2, coming off a big stoppage victory over Jamal Hill. I think stylistically this will be a really fun fight. I would favour Yuri Prohaska in it. I actually think he would stop Carlos Oberg, but Carlos Oberg is really good. He's on an 8-fight win streak now. He's finished a lot of his opponents on the way to being ranked number, what's he going to be, 3 or 4 now. He's still ranked number 6. The rankings haven't updated yet, but after that win over Jan, he's bound to be like 3 or 4 is what I'm going to guess. Carlos Oberg, Yuri Prohaska, make that matchup happen. It could open the main card for Pereira and Ankalaev too, and then that way we know who is next for the title shot in the UFC's light heavyweight division. Moving on to the loser, we have got Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz, very unlucky. I need to sneeze. Cabbages. Jan Blachowicz was very unlucky in that matchup against Carlos Oberg. I thought he won it 2-1. Oh well, they didn't score it that way. They wanted the young prospect in Carlos Oberg. Young prospect, 34 years of age, may I add, to win that matchup, to move on. It is what it is. Jan Blachowicz, 42 years of age. He didn't retire, so he's going to keep competing. I think you do him versus the winner of Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. People might say if Khalil wins, he should fight for the title right away. Absolutely fucking not. No. Like, Khalil Rountree has like a cult-like following. I do have Jamal Hill here on screen because currently I actually think he's being really slept on. I think Jamal Hill is much better than what we have seen in his last few performances. I think he is going to beat Khalil Rountree, although Khalil Rountree is a very dangerous matchup for Jamal Hill. And the fact that Jamal Hill is being so active, which is normally a good thing, but he's being very active coming off losses, which isn't really a good thing, if you know what I mean. Like, he just got brutally beaten by Yuri Prohaska. I know it was a close enough fight, but he took some serious damage in there against Yuri, and he's looking to get right back in there in April. I think the Khalil Rountree matchup is, but I think Jamal Hill is slept on. I think he's got power. He's very, very powerful, and Khalil Rountree got knocked out by fucking Johnny Walker and beat by Kutelaba. You know what I mean?
Bruh.
And his best wins, Anthony Smith. I think the guy is overrated, although stylistically, I think he has a tough matchup for Jamal Hill. But regardless, I think the winner should face Jan Blachowicz. I know Jan Blachowicz would be he's on a loss then, and they'd be coming off a win. But they're not going to be fighting for the title next. They're not going to be in title elimination bouts, especially if it is Jamal Hill. So I think that's the matchup that makes sense in my opinion. You also have the winner of Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. I just think this is a better fit in my opinion. Moving on, Kevin Holland, stay at welterweight. You look good there. Do not go to the middleweight division again. You're too small. I think you do him versus Bryan Battle. A great fight. Bryan Battle's just outside the top 15 UFC welterweight rankings, obviously coming off that win over Randy Brown. I think this would be the perfect fight to open up a main card for a pay-per-view. Maybe one that isn't as stacked, because get these guys on stage at a press conference. They will trash talk each other, build hype to their fight, and that is what you want. They all don't have to be these big, high-staked, high-ranked banger matchup on these pay-per-view cards. Just give us fights that we want to see, that bring intrigue, and stylistically are fun fights. This will be a fun matchup. Bryan Battle is on a bit of a win streak now. I think he's on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. Kevin Holland coming off that dominant. I don't want to say dominant, actually. I was just thinking of the first round there where he nearly put Gunnar Nelson out. A close matchup, but a well-deserved win for Kevin Holland. I think this is the matchup to make. Like I said, I think both guys are characters. They'll go back and forth, sell the fight at the press conference, make it fun, and it could open up a main card. Moving on, Jordan Vucenic. I worry that this guy's going to be going back to the Cage Warriors. I am worried for this guy. Why would you shoot a takedown? Why? Anyway, Jordan Vucenic, I've got him against Elvis Brenner. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, Elvis Brenner, as is Jordan Vucenic. Look, Elvis Brenner does have a bit of a name, so people might say in the comments, Jordan Vucenic doesn't deserve this matchup. Okay, I would hear your argument for that, although I was just looking through the rankings and I'm like, Hakparas, no, I don't think Jordan Vucenic should get that matchup. Ribovic, no. Daniel Zellhuber, maybe that was a possible outcome. Bobby Green was one I was thinking of, but Bobby Green has a bit. He's got name value, and Jordan Vucenic coming off 2 losses, and he's coming off a submission loss. Don't think he deserves that matchup. Elvis Brenner, he always comes to fight. I think stylistically it's a fun one. Jordan Vucenic, he is known, like he does have a fan base. You know, a lot of people were cheering for him at UFC Fight Night London. There's been a lot of talk about him even when he signed to the UFC to fight Garam at UFC Abu Dhabi. The guy had a lot of hype behind him. So he does have name value. Let's give him Elvis Brenner. Both guys are on 2-fight losing streaks. I think it can be a fun fight. And Jordan Vucenic, this is sink or swim for the guy. If he loses this, he's back to the fucking Cage Warriors cage. That's where he's going. Obviously, Chris Duncan, sorry, I haven't added him in here. Him versus Terrence McKinney, UFC 314. He called him out. Makes sense. Make the fight happen. And finally, we have got Nathaniel Wood. Really good win over Morgan Charriere. I actually thought he was going to lose that, to be honest. He cracked him and hurt him in the first round. Couldn't get the finish, which seems to be the story of Nathaniel Wood's career at times. You're 31 years of age. Let's get rid of the prospect name. I know he said he's going to change it up. He needs to fight in the rankings. Now, I give him Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar is done, in my opinion. He's at the end of the road. Although we've come to the end of the road. I'm not Boys the Men but I know I did sound like them there. Him versus Calvin Kattar, banger, make it happen. I think it makes sense. He deserves a ranked opponent. He didn't take much damage in there against Morgan Charriere. Calvin Kattar didn't take much damage against Forrest Gump, aka Yusuf Zalal. Just make this fight happen. It's time for Nathaniel Wood to push on in his career. He deserves the ranked opponent. I think Calvin Kattar would be best suited for him. So those are all the matchups that I think need to be made after UFC Fight Night London. Let me know what matchups you want to see in the comments below. And let me know who do you think would win these hypothetical matchups that I have made. And as always, thanks for the support. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you again in the next one.